Willkommen zu Peter Drunksaat. Wir sind auf drei Staaten und wir trinken Bier. Ich habe ein Erdinger Weißbier hier zu trinken und ich weiß nicht, was Keegan und Luke haben zu trinken.
Uh, uh,
That's all the German
no,
I have in
no,
me
no
today.
hablo inglés.
It's all the German
Uh,
I have in me.
Danke. And eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben, acht, nine, 10.
Elf,
That's
12,
all I know.
3 19. No, welcome
Yes,
back.
us German speakers laughing together. Yeah.
That's all I had in me. I prepped that on the car ride back
That was
here.
really nice, though. That was
It
that
was
was really nice.
well practiced, my
I took a
friend.
lot of German.
Did you?
Yes, I took the AP German exam.
Oh, nice. I
Holy
took
crap.
French. I
Yeah.
took French. That's about it.
I took Spanish, but don't ask me if I remember any of it.
Well, yeah, because you were talking to Alan the whole time, you asshole. No wonder teacher didn't like you.
That is true. The teacher was not a fan.
But no,
I don't blame her.
I do have my German Alpine hat on.
I
For
wish
those who
everybody
can't
could
see.
see it. Can you post
Yeah.
a picture?
Yeah, I'll post a picture.
Perfect.
No, this is like a tchotchke ass like fake hat that I bought at the Bavarian Beer House in Milwaukee last year, for during Sophie's birthday celebration. I will have a layover in Munich in like 2 weeks, during like the end of Oktoberfest. So I'm hoping to get like a real nice hat during that.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah, but I did just get this sick pin. It says I got beer brulee at Indeed Brewing Company because we did what they call beer brulee, which is where they have a fire outside the brewery. And if you walk out, like if you get a beer and walk out with it, they just stick a hot piece of rebar in your beer and it tastes like marshmallow.
It doesn't taste like rebar.
No,
I'm out then. I want the rebar flavor in there.
you
No,
need
see,
iron in your diet.
I wanna hear in somebody's tasting notes one of these times, like, yeah, it was a little hop heavy, but in the finish, it was kind of a rebar almost.
Just
Not
subtle
metallic,
notes of
specifically
metal.
rebar.
Strawberry rebar pie.
That's a good one, Luke. That's a good
Thanks.
one.
Well, I had an extra week to save up. So
Yeah, you've been
Yeah,
writing
we're glad to
jokes.
have you back.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for going on without me for the week, and thank you, Matt, for stepping in, trying to
Thank
fill my wide Neanderthal feet shoes.
clubbed.
Small thumbprints, though. Small thumbprints.
Yeah. I was the one who was born with club feet, so like I can't talk.
We got club feet, club thumbs, and club hockey.
Clubbed seals.
Nice. Nice.
Club
I
feet,
was gonna
club.
see where you were going with that because I was like,
That's a good one.
nothing that I'm related to has a club in it except for club hockey. Good
Except
call.
D1 club hockey.
Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that it's D1 club hockey
Well,
because it
because
is.
a lot of D1 club hockey teams are better than most schools' D3 NCAA teams.
Damn straight.
Like
Respect, Donnie.
that when I worked in admissions with you, Keegan, I had a couple dads like ask me about it, and I'm like, yeah, like I've got some friends who play club hockey, and they're like, okay, well, like D1 club hockey is better than some schools D3, so like how intense is it? And I'm like, talk to my friend Keegan if you need that, but like they're good.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
So, what are you guys drinking?
Well, I have a couple.
Oh,
I got an
Um,
Erdinger. I said that already in German.
and Germany, yeah, you missed that,
Yeah,
Luke.
Erdinger
D-bag.
Weissbier.
right.
I was at the Army game today, so I've been drinking since about 11 o'clock. So I'm feeling pretty solid right now.
Good for you.
I have the very German beer of Modelo,
Oh,
Especial.
known German beer. And then I'm actually sipping on a little bit of Blanton's whiskey at the same time.
whoa,
Ooh.
Blanton's?
Which
Blanton's,
one?
Mr.
Just straight up?
That's a great question. Mr. Wynn said, you want some Blanton's?" And I said, "Yeah, please."
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yep. I said yes. So
All right.
I got a couple
Well,
on hand. Luke, what do you got?
I am drinking beep, and I'm saying that because, uh, It's one of my tasting beers still.
It's
So
Coors Light.
I can't. Yeah. I would be drinking Coors Light.
Sounds like they have a good I've heard they have a good Oktoberfest.
Coors Oktoberfest.
Coors Light
Actually,
Tober.
you know you
Coors
know what I had
Toberfest.
today that I was really impressed with? Yingling's
It
Oktoberfest.
was I had that the other day at a tailgate for
I
a
w-
Brewers game.
I
Really
was
good.
so surprised by it because generally like I'm not a huge Yingling fan. But I had a Yingling Oktoberfest at the tailgate and I was like, I, I vibe with this. I vibe with this.
It was like I know some people who are like Yingling fiends and like my buddy that I grew up with, his dad, anytime he goes back to like he goes to like work in the Pennsylvania area, he just comes back with like a truck full of Yingling and just like drinks that. And
That's
like
kind of crazy.
I was so when I was back home recently, I described to him the 999 challenge. And he's like, well, if it's Yingling, I could do that. And I'm like, yes, John, I've seen you slug down 9 Yinglings in an hour.
My uncle Ricky in Arkansas drinks Yingling exclusively. Well, I shouldn't say exclusively because when he's left without options, he will drink a Blue Moon.
Hmm. They're
Not a bad
very
alternative.
related.
Yeah.
Well, Yingling is like funny because it's like the oldest craft brewery in America and it's like still designated as a craft brewery, but like craft just means like you produce like less than 1 million barrels of beer or something like that in a year.
Nice.
So they fudge the numbers hard, apparently. I learned that recently. Um, but yeah, I was impressed with the Yingling's Oktoberfest. One of Don's friends was down there recently and like came back with a bunch of it. Um, and so we were at a brewer's tailgate a couple weeks ago, and he just had some in the cooler, and I was like, "Hey, do you mind?" He's like, "No, not at all." And so I had one, and it was
Have
really
they
good.
had Yingling Oktoberfest out for a while?
I have no idea.
Since
Because
last
this is the
October.
first. This is this is the first I'm hearing of it, so I kind of want to try and find it and
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan.
check it out.
Another great beer I had at the tailgate today. I mean, it's well known, macro, was the Sam Adams Jacko.
Yes, love the
Just a
Jacko.
great pumpkin beer. Like it was very, very good.
We just
I'm
beer
not
brew.
a huge fan of it.
Well, I didn't really ask your opinion,
Yeah,
so
Oh, here we go.
we just beer bruleed the Indeed yam beer that they have for
Whoa.
the Yama Jamma. So I got 3 beers that we beer bruleed that my boy Cullen stuck a hot poker in. We had their Loretta's, which is their lager, which I was just told they're retiring after this year, which is crazy because that's one of their staple beers. They are
Oh.
replacing it with an Irish dry stout, apparently.
good for them.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Uh, we did the honey bun brown ale, which is like nice and sweet.
Ooh,
That sounds really
that with
good.
that rebar sounds actually really good.
Well, because it turns into like a marshmallow, and then we did the yam beer, which was really good, and I liked it because, like, I don't know about you, Keegan, with the Jacko, I like that beer tastes like pumpkin, not like pumpkin spice, which I've said before,
Yeah,
and that's my
yeah,
big thing.
yeah. I definitely agree.
See, I don't want too much pumpkin in my Halloween time like pumpkin beers, which I know is stupid sounding, but I really that I am drinking it for a little more spice just to drown out the pumpkin. I don't want to feel like I've got a pumpkin over my head, like when you're a little kid and you cut the holes out and you put the pumpkin on your head and
Look, let's not act like you went to the state fair and didn't pick out the winning pumpkin this year because it's so big and then put it over top of your head now.
it's the only one that would fit over my head.
I was gonna say that if you didn't. uh, no, pumpkin beers, like I talked about it a little bit a couple times ago. I think there's a right balance to strike with it. And again, it's like the pumpkin spice latte. It's like, why is a pumpkin spice latte if it ain't got no pumpkin in it? But it's like, well, because it's just the spices that are used for pumpkin pie spice.
Yeah. Um,
Hey, look who it
Hey!
is.
we got a guest on board. So
Yeah.
If you met Donnie, this is Donnie.
Hi,
We've
Donnie.
met.
I know Donnie.
Yeah, you get
We've
they
met.
they
I
met.
can't hear anything.
I know because it's in my headset.
Oh.
We're saying
You're reading
awful
the fucking
things
Modelo?
about
No.
you.
What's Luke saying?
He said that you're an asshole and
No,
probably should go back
okay.
downstairs.
I was
No,
saying we
he's
were
not
saying
saying
awful
that.
things, but I did not say that. You're a good guy. Good guy.
Great guy.
See how short his
Great
thumbs
guy.
are?
You're a great
No.
guy. Keegan is an asshole.
The cocks are sucking. What's up, boys?
What's going
What
on,
is
man?
going on? What's happening?
The cocks suck.
Dude, don't even get me started.
Are you watching them, Donnie?
Yes, my stepmom's a Gamecock.
Really?
Yes.
How do you hear this?
In the headset? What do you mean?
Oh, you hear this?
Yeah, my stepmom's a Gamecock.
How?
We get no
My
animals
stepmom
in
is
the
from South
podcast?
Carolina. She
All
went
right.
there for undergrad.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Are you watching? You're watching on TV then?
I'm not right now, but like
Oh,
I've
that's
not
cool.
been impressed with their performance so far this year.
I don't want to
That's
talk about
okay,
last
man.
week.
Yeah.
Do not want to talk about last week.
No.
All right, we gotta get back to beers.
Wait, no beers. Wait, actually, who? What the fuck is Keegan reviewing?
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
get to
yet.
it.
We haven't got to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a Modelo, dude.
I
Like
have it
that's
written down, bro.
Das est un Modelo. So, yeah, it's German. It's
What
not what
language
you
was
think.
that, Luke?
I have no idea. I don't know how to speak German. I took Spanish. Again, I don't remember any of it. I even said un. So
Yeah, you're
I
a
think
Polish guy who took
Un's good.
Spanish.
Un's good, honestly.
und
Und.
und we are going to drink
That sounds very German
Modelo?
now.
We can go back. I gotta finish fucking recording this.
All right, boys.
See you, James.
That's you, James.
Huh? Well, I'll make sure to tag you. I'll tag you in it.
Yeah.
Now,
So James
For,
has also had a few beers, if you couldn't tell.
I don't
Oh,
think I've
wow, I
seen James with
couldn't
less than a
tell.
couple beers in him. I don't think I've ever hung out with him where he hadn't had a couple.
That's his normal state. I think that's the way that it's the way he lives.
now
And I appreciate
for
that.
for our listeners, it's important that and I don't know if we ever told the story, but when James was a little kid, you know, everybody wanted to be an astronaut or the president of the United States. James wanted to be a big black horse. So that was James.
Yep. That was James who wanted to be a big black horse. You are very correct.
Do you blame him?
I mean, big black horses are kind of cool.
They're
There's
awesome.
worse things to aspire to be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like president of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. At this juncture, yes. I say that as I just got my absentee ballot in the mail because I will probably be out of state during the next election.
I
Just
don't
remember to
believe in
vote all.
democracy,
Not
so I don't vote.
just remember to vote. That's all I'm gonna say, people.
Do we have a beer to review? I mean,
I have a couple.
Well, I was gonna get into that because James was like, "Well, what's Keegan reviewing?" So I got curious myself.
So James kind of put me on the spot. No, not really though. So I had a couple beers that I had. Let's see, which one do I want to do? I didn't bring the cans with me from my New Jersey apartment, but
Respectable.
the first one. Let's start with the October. So the first one I had is a Bell's Brewery Oktoberfest beer. It is oh God, what percent is it on the can on me? 5.5% Marzen. I don't think I pronounced that right. Is that correct? That's how you say it?
Märzen.
Märzen?
Yeah, I'm not
Märzen.
gonna say it like that.
Most
'cause
people say Marzen, but
I'm gonna say
Märzen.
Marzen.
Marzen?
Marzen.
Mars and Pluto, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about space. I do have that beer in my fridge right now, actually. I haven't drank it yet, though, but I
So
do
it's Comstock, Michigan, if I'm remembering correctly. So actually, Donnie, out your way. I
never been to
enjoy this beer.
Michigan.
Well, it's out your way though, right? So
Yeah,
so
I
you-
live very close to Michigan, never been there.
I mean, you can walk there essentially.
Yeah,
Over
I've
the
heard bad
lake.
things.
I heard actually, dude, I've heard Flint has some of the most pristine water in the world.
Yeah,
Here it's
Coors
just
Light uses its water.
it's a river full of beer.
So this beer, I enjoyed that it had like I mean, this is gonna sound dumb. It was like malty still, while also having more of that light bodied. So it was like for my taste palette, because I haven't dipped into this kind of setting of beers much. It was almost like a brown ale that had a baby with like a wheat ale or something a little bit lighter too. So I think like almost brown ale's lighter cousin. Um, and so like I really enjoyed it. I think like it's a great beer for this specific time of year, which I guess is why it's brewed this time of year. Because like it's refreshing enough that you're getting like even if you have warm weather, it's still sitting well with you, but it's also kind of starting to dip more into that maltiness and that darker setting of beer.
Totally
So
agree.
that was at least my kind of, and again, this is more of my first steps into this arena. But yeah, yeah,
It's the
that's what I
season,
felt.
brother.
Yeah, I think you're exactly like right, Keegan, sorry. Um, so I read recently actually with the Oktoberfest style of beers. Um, so you have like the two main ones of Märzens and Fest beers. And Märzen is like the traditional like German style of beer that is served at this type of festival. But it's like usually over 6% ABV, a little bit heavier. And so then they developed the Fest beer when they like Americanized it. You know, they made it the McDonald's of beers, basically. So they just
Very
basically said
true.
like, "Hey, we like these flavors. What if we made it a little bit lighter?" But I totally agree, Keegan. I think in this changing of seasons, like a roasty beer that is still light on its feet, it does so much
It's
because like
incredible.
it's 75 degrees outside for me right now in Wisconsin. Like I'm sweating.
Jeez.
I want something refreshing, but also like, God damn it. I love my roasty beers. I love my ambers and stuff like that. And so if I can find a beer like you just described where it's got that roasty flavor but stays refreshing, that's the sweet spot right there, if you ask me.
The
Absolutely.
second I see leaves start to fall, I'm like, malty, roasty, give it to me. I'm like,
Backwoods bastard, damn it.
we're in dark beer season, boys.
No, I totally
Well, Luke, is
agree.
there ever a non-dark beer season for you?
That's true. I am the one drinking Guinness on a hot patio in the middle of summer. So it's
I made decisions today. We went to a place called Doosterbeck's Brewing, which is like this farm brewery out in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, today after apple picking. I went apple picking this
Wow,
morning.
you really hit all of the like fall
Oh,
festivities.
we were all in today, man. But their like famous beer is like a peanut butter beer. And I was just like,
Mm.
ugh.
I would love to drink that, but it's 80 degrees outside right now. Like
That does
get
sound
like give
tough.
me the Hefeweizen and we'll talk later. Like
What
like
and that
it was just I would love to have had that beer, but not when it's 80 degrees outside.
No, yeah.
definitely not. So that brings me to a question, if I can go before you guys start reviewing your beers. Why does Oktoberfest start in September?
Traditional German holidays, man. I don't know.
I mean, they
Like
were
the Germans just decided to be assholes and like kind of change it up a little bit, or
well, gentlemen, and
Non-Gregorian calendar.
I've done some research on the back of a beer can. Uh, Started in 1810 to celebrate the marriage of King Ludwig and Queen Therese. Oktoberfest is a party for the people. In the more than 2 centuries since then, there have only been 24 years where the celebration was missed, including the years of 1939 to 1948, World War II. The
I
end of
was
the
gonna
war
ask what
gave
was
the
happening
world
in
a
those
reason to
years.
celebrate.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, it was a very calm time in world history. And
World
there was
peace, even.
yeah, world yeah. Um yeah, I'll save the rest for my beer review.
Well, you
But
can
yeah, it
just
was
do your
cool
beer
to
review right now, Luke.
Oh yeah, well, in a not so slick transition into the beer now now that I had stopped reading it. Um this beer was inspired by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was quoted on this can as saying, "I believe this would be a good time for a beer." And a good time it was, gentlemen. This is Warhorse Brewing
Mm.
Rolling Storm Oktoberfest, which the
Oh,
Ooh, that's
can
a
looks
good
really
can.
cool. Yeah,
very
and
That's a
cool.
good
get it
can.
rolling because he didn't have use of his legs. And but Warhorse, it's a Rolling Storm Oktoberfest was clean tasting. It was malty, but not all that dry like what I'll kind of describe as my because I am going out of order. What I'll kind of describe as I, I'll kind of describe as I was gonna roll past it, no pun intended. But Keegan is losing it right now, so um I maybe was a little harsh in explaining the lack of ability to use his legs. So I apologize to any viewers who may not appreciate that. Um, but it was Moorish. It had a sweet bread flavor that comes with some ambers that I've had, and a slight dryness through the finish. But it was a nice like this is. I would say that this beer is exactly what I want to drink. Um, like over and over again. In fact, I actually wrote down here an ideal Oktoberfest beer I can easily put in a stein over and over in an afternoon with a lot of large, sweaty people under a tent, as you do during Oktoberfest.
The real question is, could you hold it up for a long amount of time?
We'll have to test it out.
I left Indeed before the Stein holding competition,
Can
which is
we
happening as we speak,
can we
and
do an
I think I
Instagram
could do pretty
live?
well.
Can we do an Instagram live with the three of us doing a Stein holding competition?
Oh man, I gotta find some Steins
I will say,
real quick.
like, I think the testament of a true Oktoberfest is like a beer that you could put in a full liter Stein and enjoy every sip of it.
Hmm. I agree.
Because
Yeah,
like I saw my cousin Brandon, if you guys haven't had it yet, I'm not reviewing this beer, but Sierra Nevada is doing a collaboration Oktoberfest this year.
Hmm.
It's in a black can. It's really, really good. My cousin, he posted it on Untapped and he's just said, I want a stein of this. And I think that is the true testament to what makes a good Oktoberfest. It's not Oktoberfest beer, but I just had the Vienna Lager at Indeed. And if you dress up festively, which I am currently, I'm wearing my Alpine hat with my Indeed Oktoberfest shirt.
that you are.
Um, yes,
Indeed, you are.
indeed.
Nice.
But they give you your first beer half off there. And I'm like, well, if I get it half off, then I'm going to do a Stein of Vienna Lager because it's $7. And
Done. Ship it.
yeah, that's
Easy
good.
bread.
And so that's a beer that I would want a Stein of, but again, not a not an Oktoberfest beer.
Well, I
Um,
give this Oktoberfest a 4.25 on Untapped.
really,
I like it quite a bit. This I think is a beer that would be my go-to um for the festivities.
I when you were talking about FDR, there's a bridge in Chicago which is named like the Rolling Bridge or something like that
Mm,
because the first
mm.
like steps on it were FDR's wheelchair. We just did the Chicago architecture tour the other day and it was like that.
Oh,
Oh,
It was
dude, that is so
crazy.
fun.
It
Emily
was
Minnick is going to be so excited that you took the Chicago architecture tour.
Yeah, I know I needed to, I almost texted her, but I was down there. My stepdad's cousin got married and she lives in Chicago. So we were
Okay.
just there.
My
S-
my family and I did that architectural boat tour and we loved it. That was so freaking cool. Maybe
it's
not
just
my mom. I don't know.
it's cool because you
Didn't
can
like
see
that stuff.
every cool thing from in that like every cool building in that city from a boat.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just really nice and like I would advise anyone in Chicago to do it. But while I was down there, I did have one of my tasting beers.
Oh,
I had the
Ooh.
Midwest Coast Brewing Company Oktoberfest, which is a 5.8% Märzen. This was my stepdad's cousin. Like they did like welcome drinks the night before at a brewery, which is like actually attached to the venue that they got married at. I wasn't invited to the wedding, but they're like, yeah, you can come to the wed like the before dinner drinks. Like, love to see you. So Sophie and I went down and I had their Oktoberfest. Um, and it was just like one of those classic, like crushable Oktoberfest beers. It was like 85 degrees outside. It was really hot on the patio there. Like we were all like sweating. There were so many people. But that was a beer that was refreshing to me. Um, I said that it was like a sweet and easy drinker. Like it was sweet enough that like I kept wanting to drink more, but it wasn't heavy and like weighing me down. And I could still like be like, oh, I'm getting free drinks at this place. I'm gonna go try multiple other beers. Um, but I was very happy that I drank it because it was like almost citrusy. Like I don't know if you guys have had that. I've been noticing this with a lot of Oktoberfest recently, and I don't know if it's my palate, but it feels like almost like you squeeze an orange into it and then drink it
Hmm.
sometimes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's my palate or like I'm not good enough of describing exact taste, but that's what I get to it. There's like that little bit of tang and sweetness to it.
That sounds
Um,
really nice, actually.
it was it was a very good beer. Like it wasn't the best beer I had there. Their
Right.
English sporting beer, which is like an English bitter, like English pale ale, amazing beer. But this was probably the second best beer I drank that night. Um, and I'd never been to Midwest Coast, never seen their beers in the store before. So I was very happy when I drank this beer and I was pleasantly surprised.
Way cool. Oh, what was the place like?
It was like traditional, like industrial park brewery. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Um, it's actually like a block over from Goose Island, which I've been to a couple times, and talked about on here. It's like the next street down from it. Um, it's just kind of like out on the outskirts of Chicago. And the drama of that night was our hotel where everyone was staying for the wedding was next to where they had the Mexican Independence Day festival in Chicago.
Wait, do they have that? You said that was last weekend?
That was this past weekend, yeah.
Because there was the same thing in New York.
Yeah, and
That's
so
wild.
our hotel was next to that.
Okay.
And we were like what my one cousin, like his dad came up and was like, hey, like can you order me an Uber? Because he doesn't have Uber app on his phone. He's like, yeah, sure. Orders him one's like, all right, this is the car you're looking for. Goes and gets in it. Um, my cousin and I are looking at it and watching it, and it took him like almost 2 hours to get back because of the traffic and like roads closed off because of the festival. So
Oh
we were just like watching that on his Uber
God.
app. And so me, my cousin, his husband, and Sophie were like, we're just gonna take the subway back. So we took the L, which is like the Chicago subway back. And we like it was so funny. So many of us got back to the hotel at the same time and we all had different experiences. Like four of us took the train. Super easy, walked a couple blocks, like maybe 5 blocks total. It was perfect. Um his my cousin's dad got there at 2 hours after he had asked for an Uber to be called for
Oh
him.
my gosh.
And then
Oh,
like my mom got there at the same time as us because their Uber driver was just like, "Hey, I'm going to this hotel," and the cops were like, "Okay, you can go through." And it was really
I
really
mean,
funny.
that's wild though. That took that long.
Oh my God, it was like 2.5 miles total. It wasn't very far.
Jeez.
Why would you? So, at what point? Because I've done this in taxis before.
When you
At
just say
what
"fuck it,
point?
I'll walk."
Yeah. Do you say, I'm just gonna get out here, have a great night. I'm walking it.
Yeah, forget about it.
I think it's because the taxi was stuck on the highway in Chicago, the FDR highway,
Oh, geez.
and I think that's what like
The
because
rolling highway.
yeah, the rolling the Rolling Stone Highway. No, I do think that I think it was because of that because there wasn't anywhere like good for him to get out and walk for a little bit. And so I think they were stuck there. But yeah, I've been there before, Keegan. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's tough to get on the highway, but it's all right. Live
Yeah.
and learn. Live and learn.
Either way, it was a good night. We got free beer. My stepdad's cousin got married. It was awesome.
Nothing's better than that.
Yeah. You're happy people drinking happy drinks, right?
Yeah.
You ever drink sad drinks?
Yeah.
What's a
That's
sad drink?
Most nights. Oh, what's a sad drink? Oh,
Coors Light. That's a sad drink. I don't know. I drink when I'm in good spirits usually.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
usually to celebrate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's what it should be reserved for, because you're just welcoming a relatively poor time if you indulge quite a bit and you're a sad fella.
I mean, I did drink at the Patriots game on Thursday. That was a
Keegan, you got to
very
stop
sad
going to
night.
New
Yeah,
England sporting
great
events.
That was a very
celebration.
sad night. It was a rough time.
I could have gone to the fucking Woodman's Cheese department and seen that O line.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that was like my buddy texted me. He's a Jets fan. Like when Drake May got in, and he's like, "Oh, it's Drake May season." I'm like, "No,
No,
they're
please don't.
trying to preserve Jacoby Brissett's brain because he is
the
getting
issue is-
scrambled every single snap that they play on offense."
Right. And so I need another beer in a minute, but who really needs a beer is Jacoby Brissett, because he is literally just going to be a tackling dummy for the remainder of this season.
If
Poor
he doesn't
bastard.
get the ball to Ramondre Stevenson or Antonio Gibson, it's
He's
like,
dead.
yeah, he's just dying.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first Patriots game I watched this year, and as a Patriots fan,
Well, I mean, the first 2 weeks weren't bad, so that's a
no,
tough
and
game to
that's
start
why
with.
I was kind of depressed
Yeah.
on Thursday night. But that's what I expected for this team this year. I didn't have high expectations, and Jesus Christ, it was worse.
That was terrible.
It was worse. Like the fact that they couldn't even just do quick throws to the tight end or pop Douglas in the slot was discouraging to me. And I understand the Jets defense is very good. I will give them credit on that. However, it's the Jets. They had the butt fumble. They had so many historic bad moments in history. They had Aaron Rodgers getting fucking eaten alive 90 seconds into Thursday Night Football. Like, at least try, is all I was going to say.
I have no words. I need a drink.
I need a drink. We'll be back shortly talking about more beers. Willkommen zurück. That's all I had left of me. Welcome back.
That's it. That's all the
It was
German left.
welled up. It was the last drop.
I know a good amount of German still, but no practical uses for it.
Hey, beer is as practical as it gets.
Absolutely.
I do drink a lot of that.
But the judge didn't agree.
But
no.
Yeah, no. I gotta get my license back.
So I grabbed a beer.
Good for you.
Before coming back here.
On this podcast?
I thought it would be kind of funny. I found it in Beers of the World the other day. Love Beers of the World. It's a series called Keegan Ales.
God damn it.
Fuck yeah.
They can't keep giving this guy a platform.
It's by the Hudson Valley's Brewery. That's what it's called. And what's so weird about it is, so not only is it Keegan Ales, right? Your name, but it also has your nickname on it.
Splee Splee?
Hurricane Kitty.
No way. How did they know?
I'm dealing with Hurricane Kitty right now. I got a kitty cat on my desk trying to eat my summer sausages. I just wanted to have a snack between the podcasts.
Are you all drinking right now?
I got the same beer. I'm being good tonight.
I'm not. I'm being bad.
Bad.
That pumpkin right there?
Southern Tier Pumpkin. Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
You know, they also have a pumpkin flavored whiskey.
Well, and I'm also gonna punch you in the face. So
they have a caramel.
A pumpkin flavored whiskey actually sounds really good.
They have like a caramel pumpkin good. I saw this year. We went to Total Wine last night. Sophie's mom sent us on an expedition. I think we got like 12 different styles of Oktoberfest beer.
Holy hell.
And we made some
Wow.
cuts. Like we could have got more, but we were like, we typically don't like this brewery, so we're just not gonna bother. Um, but yeah, I did see the Pumpkin from Southern Tier. I do love that beer. I think it's really, really good.
Hmm. Um, I'm gonna give a free first sips here.
Oh God.
Ooh, that is a delightful IPA. Keegan, well done. I'm sorry, Hurricane Kitty, well
There you
done.
go. There you go. Come with respect when you come at me.
Who wants to start off with their next tasting?
Me.
Go.
So the second beer I had another beer recorded. This is a free like tertiary first sips. So I had Hillsbury Brewing Company, which is like Hillsboro, Wisconsin, middle of nowhere. Friday Night Lights is what their beer was called, which I thought was cool, but it's like an Oktoberfest style. It was just super good, light, crushable. Recorded that, but then I went to the Brewers game this Wednesday, the day that they clinched the division.
Ow, ow.
I went by myself. Sophie was busy. Sophie's dad, though, Don and his buddies were there. Don, Paul,
On
and Brad.
John Julio Patron Jones.
Don the
Sailor
man.
Don, Sailor Don John
Sorry.
Petrulli, Don John Julio Patron Jones. We decided that
Sailor.
because he's like the number one fan of Sailor's Delight at Indeed Brewing Company.
So yeah, Sailor
Oh,
John. Sailor John,
Sailor
absolutely.
Don. But anyway, they were at the game. So him, his buddies Paul and Brad were there. Said hi to them. But at the Kugel's Barrett Yard, which is their pilot brewery in the Brewers Stadium, they had the Big Eddie Uber Oktoberfest, which was an 8.8% ABV Oktoberfest style beer.
holy crap.
And it was exactly what you think of. It was deep. Like I literally wrote, just wow. Shame this is a baseball game exclusive. Rich, deep, malty, strong. I wish I hadn't chugged 2 beers on the way to the game because I took the beer bus there. Um, but it was boozy in the best way possible. It was like strong and malty in flavor. It was almost like a barley wine in that flavor,
Oh, cool.
but it was Oktoberfest flavors. Um, I've had like the typical Kugel's Oktoberfest, and it was like that on steroids.
Mm.
And like, so I asked for a small pour of it because typically their beers, they do like a 24 ounce and a 12 ounce. And I was expecting the 12 ounce. And they're like, just so you know, the small pour is like an 8 ounce. And I was like, oh no, I wanted the 12 ounce. And they're like, oh yeah, this beer is strong enough that like we're not serving it in the 24. And I'm like, you're smart. Because
You sound
Okay.
I was gonna say you sound like me when I went to Rising Storm
yeah.
and I got a like 14.5% Scotch ale. And I was like, oh, I'll take a pint of that, please. And then he goes, no,
He's like, for legal reasons, I cannot.
Yeah,
no.
well, that's what she basically said to me, and she's like, "Just so you know, it's a small cup." And she pulled that out. I'm like, "No, I wanted the like the middle size." And she's like, "Okay, that's our big pour of this." I'm like, "Understandable. That's the maximum amount I could drink without getting fucked." But I will say it was a great beer. Would have it again. Like honestly, it is cool to see when they like I talked about with New Glarus when they did their Imperial Radler. It's cool when they have a relatively lower ABV beer, but it's stronger. And they still keep the flavors done well and everything like that. I was very impressed by it. That was also like I think one of the best endings to a baseball game I've ever been to because they had already clinched the division before the game started because the Cubs lost that day. But it was a tie game with the Phillies into the ninth. And first batter of the game was the rookie who was 20 years old, hit a leadoff triple, and then they walked it off and like rained confetti and everything, and it was super fun. And like we stayed late and like watched the players come out onto the field after they had celebrated and covered themselves in beer and champagne and everything. It was super cool and super fun. And
That's
it's
That's
like
awesome.
just memorable because I paid. The thing was, I had a free voucher to that game, so I paid $1 to use that voucher.
Holy
$1.
crap, dude.
That's
I
a
paid
dope
one
game to
dollar
go
to
to for
the
$1.
yes. I paid much more dollars in beers and food there, but like
That's where
the
they get
base
you.
cost was cheap. Um, but I really wanted to share that experience, so I rated that beer a 3.75 out of 4 or out of 5. I thought it was really, really good. Um, like I talked about earlier how I think Oktoberfest is the style that you want to always like that beer is the definition of Moorish to me, where it's like you want to be able to have a stein of this beer
Mhm.
and enjoy it. And like when a beer is that high ABV, you can't do that without getting fucked.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it can be hard
And
to do.
and that's what's knocking it a little bit down for me. But in terms of like flavor and quality of the beer, really, really good. Um, I was very impressed by it, and I think that's like as high as I can give it without it being like, okay, I'm just an alcoholic.
I don't think there's anything wrong for liking a beer for its alcohol percentage.
Yeah,
No,
that's Keegan's whole mantra.
It literally is.
you guys like it
If there's a
strong.
flavor in there too, cool. Once,
Um,
honestly, once somebody makes, I mean, Luke, the beer that we kind of mixed in Saratoga, that was really good. It was like a blueberry stout, is what it ended up tasting like.
yeah.
Once somebody makes, I'm sure somebody has, like a high ABV bourbon barrel aged blueberry stout, I'm gonna be broke because that's all I'm gonna buy.
And you're going to be jobless. You might end up homeless.
Yeah, probably.
I
Probably.
guess I know what I'm brewing next.
Um, do you want to go next, Keegan?
I actually want you to go next.
Okay. So I went to Riverworks in Buffalo. They've got a bunch of the cool areas, kind of spread out, but Riverworks is really cool. That's where they
I
have a
played
lot of
hockey there.
roller derbies. Yeah, they have hockey there. They have roller derbies there. They have pickleball courts now. They have like a little it's kind of like a small little carnival all the time there. They got a Ferris wheel and some rides. Really cool spot. And they have a ton of beer. And so they have a Riverfest Fest beer that I had that was really interesting to me. So I gave it a 3.75. Um it wasn't so frilly, but maybe slightly silly. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool actually because I tasted more hops in this one. Not than well, I'll explain it like this. I tasted more hops in this than I do the typical like fest beer or Oktoberfest beer. Like just like it didn't overpower anything, but I could pick that out distinctly. Semi-dry. I describe it tasting like a low sodium pretzel in the aftertaste.
I love that in a beer. I
That's,
love it when it tastes like bread or like a pretzel.
Yeah, this
I
nailed
like
it. But
that. I like that you specifically call it a low sodium pretzel.
Well,
oh,
no,
believe me,
I
my
drank that on the
doctor made me.
podcast, the pretzel ale.
Oh yeah,
Like I had the salt in it.
the saltiness to it.
Like I've just like pretzels, man.
Well, so Luke,
Yeah,
I guess
it's the
what's
greatest
the
palate cleanser.
difference? What's the difference for you between a low sodium pretzel and just bread? Like what is your distinction in those flavors?
Um, well, I would say it's the same thing as if you're eating like a piece of a roll versus a pretzel, right? It's like there is a difference. There's
There's
like a
just yeah,
cooked
okay.
difference
Okay.
almost. And I don't know. I mean, this beer was cool. It was not as enjoyable as the Rolling Storm Oktoberfest, but it settled out very nicely into like a less harsh, almost smooth, like sweet grain forward beer. It was great. Also, it was like I had paired it with fried buffalo cauliflower tossed in
Oh,
medium sauce.
Oh,
oh,
So
oh,
oh.
Luke, you're
yeah.
describing it in deal like Thursday night for me.
Yeah, actually, before I had that Riverfest Fest beer, I had a Loganberry seltzer.
Oh,
Wow. Oh wait, I
don't
saw
get me
your post
think.
on that.
Don't
Yeah.
even get me thinking about Loganberry, man. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start crying.
except that seltzer, I was like I took a first sip, I was like, wow, this is really good. Took a couple more sips, I'm like, yeah, still pretty good. And then I took some more sips and it got worse the more
Don't
Just
you
you
hate
drank.
that
progressively
though?
like, wow, this is I regret buying this.
Well, no,
Which
when we were just at Indeed though, with the beers, like sometimes you just get a taste in your mouth and you can't get rid of it.
Yep.
Um, I can't. I think it was the honey bun brown ale from Indeed. I got bruleed for us. Buddy, Sophie's brother-in-law, looked at me and goes, "I can't stop tasting green onions whenever I drink this beer." Because we got like three of them, we were just splitting them, and he's like, "I keep getting green onions." He's like, "I know it's not supposed to taste like that, but I can't stop thinking about it now."
That's so weird.
Yeah, it was very weird, and like I didn't entirely get it. It was a little, I'll say a little tart, maybe allium,
Well, it's
but
like Keegan when he got blue cheese out of that beer.
yeah.
Yeah. That was still, I think, one of the most. I mean, the dill pickle beer I just straight up didn't like.
Oh,
The sour was just like it was just such an interesting flavor.
Well, because like blue cheese is sour at the end of the day. Like
Right,
it is a
right,
sour flavor.
right. I don't know. It's just not what I was anticipating. If I was eating
oh.
pizza with that beer, going to town, probably.
No,
But
I mean
it
you
was
don't want to drink your blue cheese though. I like.
it was a
The
little
only
weird.
time I've ever chugged a condiment like that was uh we went to Buffalo Wild Wings after a track meet in high school because there was one on the way home. And it was the day of the SAT, so a bunch of us took the SAT and we got permission to like drive to and from the game. So
Hmm.
we or the race. So like we carpooled there, and a bunch of us, like all of us who had driven there, were like, screw it, like Buffalo Wild Wings is down the street, like let's go stop there on the way back. And a couple of my buddies decided it would be fun to get the Blazing Wings challenge, which are just like
Oh God.
spicy to be hell.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to do the challenge, so like we were just trying the wings, and I ate like the smallest bite of one of those, and I was like, I'm gonna die. And so I took one of the little cups of ranch and I just chugged it.
Was it with you, Keegan, that I took a mayonnaise packet and
That I don't remember.
took it like a shot? Also,
Oh,
this is a big tangent, but there was drinking involved in that one. But
Yeah.
I as a
somehow.
joke, so I have a label maker. It's my favorite possession. I love it. Well, I had brought it to work, and now they bought me like an industrial one. But so, well, I justified the use for it. Like I literally drove my label maker into the ground,
As you
essentially.
do with most things.
Yes, yeah.
If you find if one thing to know out there, if Luke finds something he likes, that thing
It's
will
gonna
get more.
go.
That thing is going to get more use out of it than you've ever seen in your entire life. And I do respect that because Luke, you just identify. You're like, no, I like this thing. I'm going to use it instead
Yep.
of like, I like this thing. Let me buy the best version of it possible immediately.
Yeah, well, like the issue that I run into with that though is like so I rely a lot on antique stuff that's going to last forever but probably has chemicals in it that are killing me slowly. But otherwise I'd be buying like IKEA stuff or Walmart or Kmart stuff or Walmart. Is Kmart even still around? Anyways,
No,
Walmart stuff that will
No.
last for like 3 months if it's something that I use a ton, like then I'll have to keep buying it over and over again. But, anyways, oh, yeah. So, on to what happened at work. So, as a joke, we had gotten Chick-fil-A one day and I put my name on all of the mayonnaise packets. So now, out of habit, anytime people give me like ketchup and mayonnaise packets,
You label
or
it.
I have some, I label them at work. So my drawer is like full of labeled packets. And I can't, it's like an addiction. I don't know why. I'm not even doing it in front of people anymore, which is really
That
probably
means
the
you just
sign
have
of
a
a problem.
problem at this point.
yeah, you
Yeah.
just have a habit.
I just love labeling things.
Well, the
I
closest thing
love
I have to
label.
that was my my old manager, she doesn't have a company card because like during COVID, like no one was using their company cards. If you don't use it for like a year, they deactivate it. So she just like would pay for stuff and she needed to pay for something and she was just like, "Hey, can I use your company card?" I'm like, "Sure." So I just like took it out of my wallet, put it on her desk. And then I wasn't at the office one day and she was like, "Oh, I like slid it in through your top drawer and stuff. So it's back there next time." She's like, "I didn't want to invade your privacy." And I'm like, "Brenda, the only thing in that drawer in my desk is dipping sauces for chicken." I'm like, I don't give a shit what you like, what drawer of my desk you open. It's either bug spray or chick or like snacking. Like that's the
That's
only things in my
unreal.
desk at work.
What a combination, honestly.
Well,
No,
I
like, and
just
I respect her for being like, hey, like, I didn't want to invade your privacy. I'm like, that's really cool because you had to use my credit card for it.
I was gonna say I was
I
gonna
still have
say
to pay that off.
like it's a good thing that you trust this coworker because
She's my manager. She's my boss.
right. And so if your boss came up to you and was like, "Hey, do you mind if I use your company card?" and you're just like, "Yeah," and then you get called into the office by like the higher ups who are just like, "So you paid for an in-ground pool in your backyard with the company card." Care to explain that?
Well, exactly. And that was one of those things. It was a situation where I was like, I think we were doing like an office, like team building exercise. And I didn't volunteer to do it because I'm like, I'm sick and tired of paying off this company card all the time. Like, I have to just buy random shit all the time. And so I was like, I'm not going to volunteer for it. And then she did. And she's like, oh, I don't have a company card. Noah, let me borrow yours. So I still had to do all of it. And I'm like, you still have to send me the receipt so I can submit this purchase.
The only I've been holding on to this story since we started talking about condiments. The only time that or the big one of the biggest times I remember, we were in the common area freshman year, and someone had ordered something that had like a plastic container of blue cheese sauce. And I forget who it was with, but I lost a bet or something like that.
Oh,
Lost
I
odds,
remember
lost
this.
something. And so I had a blue cheese cup smashed onto my face.
I did because I lived
And
across
so
across the
and
hallway from
so
that. Yeah.
I had blue cheese coming down my face, and then a
Jeez.
little bit of red. I got a bloody nose because they fucked me up when they put
What?
that blue cheese container there, and
It
it was
wasn't
just
Michaela. It
bleeding.
was so like it was like that vibe though. It was like
Was it from somebody down the hall?
Dude, I
it
honestly have
was
no
down
idea
your wing, like
because
before I
my
moved over
only
there.
memory is just the blue cheese, and then I touched my face quick, and it was like red blue cheese, and I was
Well,
like, wow, that's not right.
well, because what I remember of that
Red
was like
cheese.
I knew it was happening, and I like walked out of my room and walked into the lounge and just immediately saw that happening. Like
Keegan
it
was
was
being
within seconds.
resuscitated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was knocked out from the blue cheese. Well, I
Yeah.
guess, fellas, we should come back to beer at some point,
Yeah,
right?
you got to talk about another beer, Keegan,
I'll
at
bring
some
my
point.
beer. So, um, being now a New Jersey resident, I actually went with a New Jersey beer. So I had for my second beer say it again, Marchen. How do you say it?
Märzen.
Melton.
Märzen.
Märzen. The Oktoberfest from Cape May. It
Oh.
is a
Do you know
5.8%.
do you know who in our collegiate lives was had family in Cape May? Who like his
Absolutely
parents lived there?
not.
Do you remember John and Bryce?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
John's parents lived in Cape May, New Jersey.
no way.
Yes,
Man.
I'm gonna have to
correct.
drive out there and just say,
Yeah.
I need him to meet me.
Hi, John.
Anytime I hear Cape May, I think about
Hi,
John.
John.
Like I think about him.
Um, but I mean, so this is a really good beer. I gave it a 4 or 5. Um, I think a part of it is the fact that I think Oktoberfest beers, especially the Märzen, are like wheelhouse for me because they're a little bit of dark, but like still really light. And I think I've just found like that's my niche beer. So as much as I like my brown ales, my stouts, my porters, and then also separately like my wheat ales and my lagers and things like that. Like this is just such a perfect marriage of the two of them that I think this is a wheelhouse beer for me. But specifically with this Oktoberfest, it was, I mean, kind of in the same sense of the first beer I reviewed. This one also just like super crisp, which honestly I wasn't expecting with the color when I poured it in the glass. I was expecting a little more, I'll say, silkiness. But it was really, really good. What did I say? I said it was crisp and refreshing while still walking the line kind of in the direction of that roasted malt, darker beer arena. And
So
I,
I
yeah.
would say, to kind of sum it up, Märzen's sometimes have dark beer qualities in a light beer package.
I
Yes,
would
that's
agree.
exactly it. I think that's a
And
perfect way to put it.
that's what I appreciate about them because I think I am the one who trends towards lighter beers in this
Hmm.
pod. I think you guys have a much broader palate for darker beers, and I've been trying to explore that more. But I just like a nice crisp beer. Um, but I like those flavors, but also sometimes I don't want to eat a loaf of bread while I'm drinking a beer.
Right.
I
That's
would
for
like to do those things.
Oktoberfest alone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the perfect marriage of it.
Yeah, I mean, just you have to remember every Oktoberfest experience where you're walking out of the beer tents, just having to step over the unconscious bodies of the celiac people, just because it's,
So
it's
Luke, hold on. For those of you keeping track at home, Luke has now offended the disabled community and the gluten-free community. So just for the record.
I got a
Well,
lot more to go, baby.
have I told you guys the irony? You guys know Andy, one of
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
my best friend from childhood, went to RIT with me. In the same year, his sister and fiance got diagnosed with celiac disease.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
It's
What a
crazy
terrible life.
sometimes. Um, no, I feel bad for them, and it's like, yeah, you guys can like find cool food, but also like, wow,
But like,
you're
here's a loaf of bread.
yeah, yeah, they could never imagine.
I may have quoted this. There's like a Canadian, he's gone now, but a Canadian, really large comedian who was hilarious. But so like he had a comedy special called Around the World in 80 Buffets. And and he has this whole bit about like being diagnosed as celiac where like the doctor's like, yeah, so you have celiacs and so you're going to have to be careful what you eat in that. And so he goes, oh, okay, I have celiacs, what I don't really know what that means. So he gets handed this binder and he's looking and there's all this crap that he eats all the time that he then couldn't eat in this scenario. And so he goes, I looked back at the doctor and I said, uh, you want to maybe test me again, see if it's not just cancer?
I like I feel that for some people though, it's like, wow, everything I like is bad for me.
Yeah. Well, that's me with this freaking gout stuff
That's what
right
I
now,
think
man.
about like when people like ask me like, "Oh, how's Luke Scout doing?" I'm like, it's hard because Luke is less of a picky eater than he was when I first met him,
Yeah.
but
Now he's
everything he
restricted again.
likes is not good for like specifically gout. And that's like the one like and I feel so bad for you and I ponder it because I'm like, imagine if he liked anything else in the world.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I essentially brought it on myself. It's hereditary, but I brought it on at 25 years old, right? Like this didn't come out of nowhere.
No,
But
but
what I will
I still
say,
feel bad because you're one of my best friends, you know?
I I appre- I appreciate you guys feeling bad for me on that. What I will say is I've run into
I
so
don't.
many situations where I know that, Keegan.
Yeah, fuck you.
No, but I've run into so many situations where I people have gone, here, do you want I'll give you some of this, whatever, some of this burger or what. And I go, I'm all set. Sorry, I can't have red meat right now with the gout. They go, oh, okay, no problem. Well, we have fish. I'm like, no,
Nope.
sorry, sorry, I can't
Anything
right
that's
now because
got
of the gout. They go,
protein.
I said, it's like white meat really right now. And then they go, oh, all right. So let's see, turkey. I said, oh, so sorry, I actually can't have that with the gout. I'm like, so essentially chicken.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. I feel bad for celiac people because now I rely a lot on breads and dairy products and that and
Yeah, they just,
chicken.
well, you won't die if you eat a loaf of bread.
No, I just
Right.
will be incapacitated.
Yeah, but they might die.
No, yeah, that legitimately will shut down organs after a little
Yeah.
bit. So yeah,
No, but
I'll take gout over celiac. Yeah.
to be in a better mood, my task for you guys for the next episode,
All right.
they're not traditional, like, I guess they're traditional Oktoberfest beers. In the fact, we're doing German beers. Just anything with a real German name.
Like
A Vienna.
Modelo.
Modelo,
Like Modelo.
Modelo Especial Lager. Um, no, but something like a
Okay.
Hefeweizen, a Vienna Lager. Um, if you want to do another Märzen or Fest beer, something like that. Even a Goza, those salty sour beers. I just want you guys to come back to me before I have to go to Europe for a work trip,
Yeah,
with some sort of German beer.
that sounds
Um,
great. Well, Beers of the World has a Germany aisle, so
good for you.
I'm in good hands.
We got like 12
Yeah.
different
Okay, Donnie. Donnie,
Oktoberfest
okay.
style beers last night at Total Wine. Sophie's mom was like, "Hey, go get some." And so we just loaded up. We made cuts too because we're like, "Oh, we've either had this or we know it's not going to be good." So that's my task. I didn't know if Keegan had a question though for the
I do have a
upcoming.
question. Um, would I mean pretty straightforward this week. We're just gonna stick with some simple questions for now. Would you rather be rich or would you rather be famous?
Mm.
Yep.
I'd rather be drunk.
I am too.
Oh, Donnie's drinking. Donnie's drinking. He's
Yeah.
Do your
getting
parents
drunk.
know?
He's getting drunk.
Unfortunately, yes.
And they celebrate it,
They do, because usually when I'm in the presence of my parents, means I'm not in my house, which means I don't have a car. So
which means
I'm getting
Donnie's
fucked.
drinking.
I'm being drunk and responsible.
there you go.
Sweet.
No, I appreciate you, brothers. I love this time of year with Oktoberfest and all the things like that. Like I mentioned before, I've got a layover in Munich in the next couple weeks, so I'm really
Wow.
excited to see that airport this time of year instead of the middle of January where it's cold and gross.
Absolutely.
Um, but I'd love to have a beer there, and I'd love to have beer with you guys, and I look
Yeah.
forward to that next week.
Eins,
Sweet.
zwei, drei, mi amigos.
As they say in Germany, Guten Nacht.